Good evening, everybody. I am here with my friends, the triple architects, energy architects. Yes, me. I want to introduce my friend Ian, the old mate.
Peace
He's
out.
the one that keeps us at bay. Make sure that we're controlled and good. He's the fun guy, Will. He keeps things flowing for us.
He does look like a toadstool.
Yeah. He's
He's
like
a fun
all
guy.
and I am JJ. And
He's a mushroom.
together we are the energy architects.
Yeah.
So today's subject, we're gonna talk about something a bit more interested, but it's based on what we do, which is the shamanic sessions on Sunday mornings at the Inner Light Meditation Center. So if you haven't been, please come.
And the yoga den.
And the yoga den in there, you're right. And please, if you haven't been there, please come around. But I suppose the question is more around what does it mean to do this for us, and why are we doing this? So a lot of people might not understand. It's not just something that I go there on a Sunday because I just want to. What do we say? Like, for me, it's actually more than just going there and beating the drum up and whatever. So the question would be more about why do we do it? What is the meaning for us? Why is it something that I find is actually growing, not only for us, but it's growing in many other aspects in around Townsville and around the world. And we're seeing more breath work and we're seeing all sorts of things. So I think shamanic sessions is more than just one group, but it is something that we all do together. So for me, I think of a lot of things when I think of shamanic sessions on Sunday, and in general, because it incorporates. So if you haven't been to the circle, incorporates obviously an altar where we put the coordinates. We have all the elements in there, and we honor and respect not only the space but the ancestors. We respect the people that are there. Then we do prayer. We usually invite some form of plant medicine. Not the plant medicine that's necessarily meant to give you any altered state of mind, but just to invite ourselves to acknowledge nature and the healing powers of herbs. And then after that, we do some form of story or something we can communicate about, and then we enter into some form of exercise, Kundalini yoga, mixed with a bit of Qigong, and then breath work. And we end up with a quiet meditation, and then we finish with some instrumental, instruments, whether it is didgeridoo or drumming or flute or chimes, and we then finish the whole session. And I think it's been taken by the storm for us. It's been amazing. So what it is it for me? What is it that I want to understand? What it is it for you guys as well? Because do you just go there because you want to meet with people? Do you go there because you're getting some benefit? Is it helping you growing spiritually? Is it developing your awareness of your body? There's so many aspects to it, at least for me. And I thought it's interesting because when we started doing it, obviously it was more of an idea. We need to do more of the work. We spend so much time talking, and a lot of the things is all talk, but people don't have the skills or the tools to move through the work. And then obviously was where we started, and then Will came around and he's like, oh, this is really beneficial. And there was a really nice kind of introduction to have Will do some of the work, and now he's not only a facilitator but
Piece
a
of
big
furniture.
component. He's a piece of the furniture. Jeez, furniture.
Looks like a big couch.
Good table.
Table? Coffee table?
A coffee table, a tea
Like a
table.
big ottoman.
Yes, so
Poof.
oh my god. You see? Boom, boom,
I was thinking, where can I go with that? And you beat me to it. Yeah. Yes.
Is that what you call it?
What? A
Whatever,
poof?
a poof.
Yeah, in Australia we call them poofs.
Yeah. A coffee table.
No, ottoman.
Oh. was like, what?
Thank
Thank God you corrected me on that one, because I would have gone like, hey, look at that big poof right there. Put your tea on it.
A resident poof, William.
Poof on legs.
Alright.
Sorry, we just lost half our viewers.
No, this is gonna be a.
I'm going to leave that in there. You asked me to leave the stuff in, I'm going to leave it in.
No. I thought you kept it for bloopers later.
Nah, some of them I'm just going to leave it in because I think it's funny.
Oh.
We aren't sending it to anyone anyway, so no one's actually...
It hasn't started yet. Are you started to put...
Well,
what are we gonna
It's
do?
on the YouTube channel, and anyone who subscribes to that channel will get a notification it's there. I think it's got 8 or 9 subscribers.
Oh, so we need to start getting the channel promotion. Maybe
Well, we
through the
just put-
shamanic circles.
Well, you can put it on...
Maybe we should
Watch
Wait.
them first and see what you think, because that's generally what the idea is. You guys watching, go, I don't want that in there.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's up to you.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, so what are your thoughts like?
Well,
I mean, obviously for us it means something, and it's something we share with the community. There's a lot of circles out there, and there's a lot of different things happening, which I think is great. It's great that the movement's there, and people are getting some really good benefits from it.
The thing that came up for me when you asked this question was something different.
Perfect.
In terms of the word shamanic, because I know you've kind of struggled with that, and that was not a name we picked, remember?
Yeah, we didn't.
We had something else, and so none of us are actually kind of, I guess, if you could say, formally trained in shamanism, but I guess we've all picked up our own little bits and pieces of it from there. And I think probably the good thing about the word shamanic is that most people know what it is. But the word shaman actually originates from Siberia, from the word saman. So if you go to most other cultures in the world, traditional cultures, they don't even use the word shaman. Like in Australia, it can be, there's Kadachi man. I think every different tribe in Australia may have a different word for it. And if you actually go to North America, they don't use shaman either. They use medicine man or medicine woman, and I'm not sure what it is in South America. It's probably some
Curandero.
Yeah,
They do say shaman, but I think shaman is something that's come across.
Some places
From
it
all
will be
that.
called witch doctor, could be Susa, could be mystic, could be whatever, I guess.
Sangoma.
So I think probably calling it shamanic has given it that identity of something different, something that's going back to more traditional roots. I guess is something we're trying to do, and I think that's especially where Will's come on board with some of his stuff, like his didgeridoo playing is considered the oldest instrument in the world, and it has very amazing spiritual powers and connotations, I guess. But then he also now does his ceremonial smoking, which, you look at all cultures, they have some kind of like saging, whatever. So sage is a word that we've all taken from, I don't know where that word comes from. I think it actually comes from North America.
I don't know,
Because sage
actually.
being the plant, which I think is native to North America.
Mm.
So I guess people have an idea, and I think we see that in the sessions. They come in, they go, okay, they have an idea of what a shaman does, but we throw a vast array of different things in there that we've kind of put together. So whether we stick with that name or not, which I think we may change, but I mean for the Sunday session,
I
definitely.
think for me the problem is not so much that, because we're bringing elements, but I think what it is also when I hear shaman or someone to that, it's kind of something they're ordained or something they're gifted. Like shamans, if you go to circles in South America, you don't just, like shamans go through a process to learn how to work with the plants of the forest, and they do a lot of sittings with it, and they really experiment.
They go through an apprenticeship.
Yeah, they go through a lot of apprenticeship, a lot of training. So that's why in a way I'm kind of going, well, I don't want people to think that we're that, because we're not, but we use a lot of the elements where, at the end of the day, we all work with energy, and everybody is working with energy. in the sense like, you know, when you listen to the didgeridoo, just, you know, and it's funny because one time I was at the market, and this old man, he was playing the didgeridoo, and he generally plays it on the other side of the market. And he said to me, "Oh, I'm coming to bring, you know, energy frequencies." Or he said something, energy work, vibration, or something about along those ways. And I thought it's true. I mean, just the noise, it shifts the energy in the space. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the didgeridoo. I mean, it can be the drum or even the handpan. You know, when people are playing it on the market, it really changes the atmosphere and music in general.
What I've been taught is the didgeridoo puts a protection bubble around the circle.
Okay.
That's
That's well. Those are the things I don't know enough about.
where that came from.
But yeah, you know, it does, like, for me. I noticed that shift massively when we do the sessions on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see people just dropping their guard, letting in, and allowing themselves to change. And it's very simple, and it's not chaotic. You know, it's not that they come out needing some sort of support after, because we're not going through some intense journey where they're taking some medicine, plant medicine, that is going to take them to the skies, and who knows what's going to happen when they come down, you know. In a way, it's been nice to introduce breath work. And even when I speak to people, I said the nice thing about the breath work that we practice or that we use in this particular, and you know, to say the breath work is not something we invented. We're just using a special style of breath work that I find is quite works with everything we're doing, and everything synergistically works, from the prayer all the way down to lying down flat to the quiet meditation. It's kind of is stepping you into this really beautiful way to descend and really calm the nervous system. So I enjoy it because I see that transformation, instant transformation, without too much of the hectic sort of, you know, I'm going into this really hectic journey. Who knows what's going to happen? And you know, that's for other people, and for people to try on their own if they want to try it, for sure. But I suppose when people hear shamanic nowadays, they're correlating it to some sort of psychedelic work, or you know.
I think shamanism is more like, yeah, probably are, but there's also, it's ceremonial, and you could say what we do is ceremonial.
But it's ceremonial,
Yeah,
for
ceremonial.
Sure. For sure.
And like I've sat with elders and I said to them, I'm not a shaman, and they said, no, you are. And so shamanism could also be, like you said, you go through apprenticeship where you gain wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could almost say that life is your teacher, and you have got wisdom, and you have got to this point, and so you are a shaman. So you know a lot more, probably.
And you have things to share.
And you have a lot more known than the people coming into the room to get you help.
That's true. That is
so maybe you could embrace that. So I am shamanic. I'm not formally trained. This is something, and I've talked about this, Will, this is something that I had to get my head around of. We're so caught up in this Western way that I have to get a degree to say that I can do something. I have to get this. But you can have the experience. Like we were just talking about this before. Will said, oh, you know, I do massage. He goes, oh, have you got training? And I said, well, I have, but I haven't got a formal qualification, but I kind of feel I know what I'm doing. But there's still that fear of, well, if I screw someone up, there's the whole suing of you. I
think when it comes to any thing like that, you know, for me, for example, if I do go get a massage certificate, it'd be just for a piece of paper, not because I think I cannot do a massage, more because, you know, gives you rebates basically. It's just a different angle for it.
But so also let's think about this though. Like a lot of the shamans, the plant medicine doctors, right? In the forest, you go to them as originally as a tribal member. You go to that person and go, I've got this illness, and they would go, yeah, eat this plant. They have the knowledge of the plant, right? What are you? You're a herbalist.
I'm a herbalist, yes.
So why can't you be a shaman?
Well,
it's just a different way of explaining it. Yeah. It's just from a different culture. And there'll be someone in that tribe whose skill is to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't thinking too much about that at the stage. I mean, that's why I asked the question, what is it more about that you gaining? Because I mean, you know, the more I'm doing this, I enjoy it more. I enjoy it, and I enjoy seeing people. I think even when we went to AA, that AA trip was quite, it was like really seeing the work kind of come to light, because obviously a lot of the people that come to the inner light, they're already kind of in that framework. So it's like you're preaching to the choir in a way, they're already wearing, like a lot of them, not saying all of them, a lot of people do.
Then again, we've had some complete freshers off the street who've never done that work come in and go, wow, this is amazing.
That's true. But it was just, I think for us, the air was a really interesting kind of like, whoa, there was a lot of people that you could see were looking at us a little bit, what's going on here. But on the flip side, everybody loved it. And even Kirsty was saying to me, geez, people are still talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Afterwards?
they really enjoyed it.
We need to get some testimonials.
Yeah, for sure. I think is important to do, and and realize that, because we never thought it was gonna get to this point. Like, we didn't know what was gonna happen. We just thought, well, let's do it. It got to this point, and now we're going. There's definitely a need for it, because people need
Never
simplicity.
Never doubted it.
Yeah.
The thing that I like for me was that in the beginning there was a realization that there was, like you said, too much talking and not enough practical skills being given to people. And then for me it was the realization that I have knowledge and skills to pass on to help people. And so it was like this next progression in my own spiritual growth, walk, whatever you want to call it, to impart some of that knowledge and help people and teach people. And I think that's kind of what I really get from it, is that you feel like you're actually doing something and making a difference. And it's not anything anyone else is doing in this town. And it's not the same as anything anywhere else in the world. It's completely fucking unique. No one has sat, like, what did it take us 12 months to mould this to where it is now, and to go, this is a formula that seems to really work. So it's unique, which is what I like. I kind of struggle with being the cookie cutter, let's do what everyone else does. Because it probably doesn't resonate with me. And then you just get the feedback. The amazing thing is you sit there and you go, these people, nothing's happening. And you're talking to afterwards and like, wow, this is amazing. You're like, cool. And not that, but then I've also stepped into, well, I don't need the feedback, because that's then my ego going, I want to be a showman, I want to get blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to be a really cool ditch player and get all the accolades,
They are excited about it.
They are.
It's a good way to come out of it.
Hey, you're welcome. Yeah. Look, and again, it wouldn't be the same without that. I mean, that's why it's amazing how it's unfolded, and it's amazing the journey that's occurring by just keep turning up and keep doing it, and then see what's, because there was just something there that you knew this was making a difference, or something was changing, and it wasn't even about the money, and it still kind of isn't. I just like doing it. And I like hanging out with you guys because it's fun. Because that's the other thing, you can go to a few of these spiritual circles and stuff and it's all too serious. Whereas you need that lightheartedness. And, even during ceremony, we crack jokes, make people laugh, and that changes their vibration. It brings them down. And, and having people turn up and say, oh, you just helped me shift trauma that I haven't been able to shift for years. Like, fucking hell. You're not even aware that trauma's there. You're just doing your thing. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And even now, we haven't had some of the conversations with you, the more ideas we're getting that are coming through that are old ideas. Some of them are my old ideas, and I'm going, hey, do you want to do this? And I said to Will, it was, and I needed other people. And then they turned up and they're like, to be able to do the other stuff that I wanted to do, which is, I'll plug it here, which is we want to do spirit walks, where we take people out into what will either be sacred sites or we'll make our own sacred sites, because why can't we? And do these journeys, because that's one of the other things that's missing from all this stuff is nature. Like everyone does all this stuff in concrete buildings, whatever. Nature's another element of getting you changed into your vagal states and bringing you back to connection with Earth and that kind of stuff. And so that's what we want to do, take people on spirit walks, spirit journeys. Could be anywhere from 2 hours to a week long. It's going to be something that'll evolve. But yeah, being able to take people out, do dig, do breath work, do cold immersion even, do plant ceremony, etc., etc. This is what we talked about. We haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. But so that's the next step, and okay, well, where else do we go? So it's enabling us to evolve as well. That's what I find, and I think Will said it to me. It's good as part of what we're doing is like you can throw an idea out and we'll just go, yeah, have a crack, rather than someone going, no, you can't do it.
Yeah, there's no restrictions, which
No
is
restrictions.
nice, yeah, for sure.
Within reason, I mean.
Of course,
You can't
of
all
course,
get naked,
of course.
but,
Yeah, we don't
Well,
want to scare the
you
population.
could, but
No, that would be dangerous.
I'm sure there'll be people that'll be open to it.
yeah, true. All those girls in there, mate.
And he's always asking for it.
So yeah, I mean, I think going back to that word shamanism, I think it's fine. In that advertising stuff, I did change it to energy facilitators or something, but yeah, what's in the word? We could use any word there. We could use an Australian Indigenous one. We could use medicine man. We could use energy healer. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. Because you are shifting energy, and it's not so much about.
And life has taught me lots of stuff, and other people have taught me stuff. They were probably the teachers who were my shamans. But, we still learn from each other. So,
Yeah, that's true.
you could call us modern day shamans if you like.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, what a lot of these shamans do is they put themselves through struggles to get to the other side, so then they can bring people through it. And you guys we all lived different lives. We put ourselves through struggle without necessarily looking for it, but it happens, and you learn from that, and then you go, okay, how did I manage to get through that?
Yeah. Well, you look at
could
some.
have well be breath work, could have been meditation, it could have been yoga or whatever you did at that stage.
Well, you look at some of the modern day sages. Let's go Eckhart Tolle. He didn't have any shamans. He just had a epiphany, and now he's standing in front of all these people, guiding them and doing stuff. Not necessarily through ceremony. I think he does teach meditation, but
he's an interesting character.
Yeah. So's his partner.
Who's
And
that?
same with his partner. She's the same. She teaches as well. Interesting. They live in separate apartments because they say at the end of the day, when they've done all that energy work, they need to have space on their own. It's just too intense to then have anyone else. And look at let's go Joe Dispenza. He had a crisis, and then he went and learnt everything he needed to know. And he does breath work. He does ecstatic dance.
He does all sorts of stuff.
So you could call him a shaman, but we just call him Dr. Joe Dispenza. But
He's a chiropractor, isn't he?
Originally by trade. Now he's a neuroscientist.
Oh wow.
He went back to uni and did neuroscience. So yeah, what was the rest of your question?
It was the question was, there's so many aspects. Like what led you to kind of be interested in this sort of stuff? I suppose.
I think it was partly because as a kid, I was always interested in mythology. I was always fascinated with. Well, we grew up with our parents reading us Dreamtime stories, Aboriginal Dreamtime stories.
Oh, okay.
Like about the rainbow serpent, the two guys. I can't remember all the stories. The frog that swallowed all the water. So we always had an interest in that. Yeah, that one. So we grew up listening to all that, and then I was lucky enough. We lived in Mount Isa. Some people wouldn't think that's lucky, but we grew up with a lot of Indigenous people around us, and my dad worked for family services, which most of his clientele were Indigenous. So we never grew up in most of the Australian traditional households, which were racist. But I also loved American Indian mythology, all that stuff. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, there's something here. And then, you know, as you start to go through your own crises, like you look at all the other avenues, and then eventually you go, this isn't cutting it. Whereas, you know, so there's the different, there's different, you know, there's diet, lifestyle choices.
Do you have like
relationships.
Christian background?
Yeah, I've got a Christian background as well, so there's that. But then there was one missing piece for me, which was still spirituality. So then I went, okay, let's dive into that, and that's when it started. You know, listening to Abraham Hicks and then Joe Dispenza and all that kind of stuff, and just kept going down the rabbit hole. And it wasn't until I really got there that the other pieces of the puzzle, like finding the right diet that works for me, all that stuff started to happen. So it was that final piece, and then you gain all that knowledge, and you've got it in you, and you start finding that people come to you, and you start telling them if they're open to it, and then you start to go, and then opportunities just arise. Like this was your idea. I hadn't even thought about it. You went, let's do this. I went, there it is. Boom. You know.
Well, it was yeah.
It was just a surrendering to life and allowing what to come. It's the same with the men's group. You said, hey, come to this men's group. Yeah, I was looking for one. I couldn't find it, but it just turned up. And then I was able to start talking about all this stuff that I'd learned.
Yeah, that was an interesting meeting I found, because I was under the impression when I said to you the men's group, I thought you were going to be like, oh, another one like that. And you're like, no, I'll go. And I said, come. And we go to Mark, remember it was at his house. And it was all these guys. It was a lot of people. There would have been at least 20 guys.
Yeah, jammed in this one bedroom unit.
This was way before we had the
This is
center.
just at the beginning of COVID.
Just at the beginning.
Just before COVID kicked off.
Bum. Anyway, so you went to that group, and that's how you kind of...
Yeah, but you were talking about how the group was, that night was interesting.
It was, because, you know, I wasn't expecting, like, it was interesting walking into that space, because you didn't know where people were at, as far as where they understood and what sort of things they've been reading, what sort of things they've been doing. And, you know, I'm thinking, well, obviously you mentioned Joe Dispenza, and I've known Joe Dispenza for a while, because What the Bleep Do We Know, and that's when I heard of him a long time ago, those documentaries. But I never really follow any of those. You know, Jeff Braden, Bruce Lipton, all those guys had a lot of information. I never really read the material, I heard about it. But I remember sitting in that group, and Maurice was trying to suss it out, and all of a sudden you just went off, because I wasn't really wanting to talk too much, and then you just said, no, I am know about this and this guy, and I read this book, and just Dispenza, and it's some people you could just see their eyes lit up, like, oh my gosh, he wants to talk about this. I didn't, you know, it's like you voiced it, because nobody was really wanting to step into that sound.
Check-in.
And I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. And I was quite after that, I felt the group really started developing some really interesting conversations, and I enjoyed that for a while. Like, I enjoyed the conversation, but for me, what happened was it got to the point that I was, you know, I want to spend an hour maybe talking, or an hour and a half is good, but after that is a bit of, I used to get really heavy at the groups and go, okay, can we do something? Can we do some form of work, or can we talk about, or can we do something that's gonna let us leave out of here with something we're working on, or whatever. And that's when I felt, okay, the men's group are becoming, because then they split it to Ripple Effect and Sacred Masculinity, and it just got very confusing, because all of a sudden you would go to Sacred Masculinity and they would talk about very deep subjects, and then it's like, I need action. And
then they end up being
and it was like, oh, we just need to do something. And I think that's when I went up to you and said, don't you want to do some meditation? I mean, this is a meditation center, and all I see myself doing is talking. Yeah, and I think in a way what we did, because the cacao was there already, so the cacao was kind of happening, but I think when we did the actual shamanic circles is when everything started really happening, as far as more yoga, teaching, all these other things started to come. It was kind of like created the ripple. No, I'm not saying that's, but it just kind of made people go, wait, we need to do more, you know?
But you're right though, that was like seemed to be the catalyst for it all to start unfolding. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing from Will.
Yeah, me too.
What What are we talking about?
No, like maybe what we can ask Will,
Dicks.
give us a bit give us a bit of your background, like more about
And what
spirituality.
interested you in being part of this? Because you came and then disappeared, then you came back.
Disappeared?
For a while.
Oh yeah.
Remember
no, it was
when we
on a
asked you
trip.
to facilitate and you went,
Mm.
but there's obviously something there that drew you back. But anyway, I'll shut up.
So what I've been noticing over the last year, 2 years, is this rituals becoming more and more common, like the cacao ceremonies and a lot of the other things that are happening around that don't. Yeah, they're more ritualistic form of spirituality that has been missing for a while, and it's kind of like it's rebirthing itself. And I'm starting to notice that within Indigenous culture too. There has been, over the last 3 or 4 generations, this die back or die off of people there to deliver and share on knowledge. And I see it now as there's a really good opportunity to create what was lost, or to find what was forgotten. And that's where I think the shaman stuff comes into play with that as well. It's the reason I came and kept coming back was because of how genuine it was. Nothing else is run as well and as open to being what it needs to be, and serving all the people that are present. And there was a need for it, especially in such a genuine, sincere way that you guys were running it. But it's also like the perfect timing. That Sunday morning, early as it cuts out a lot of people that are half-assing the journey. So only people that are dedicated enough to not go out and get on the piss on Saturday come. And you can tell by how many repeat offenders keep coming back. There's so many people that keep coming back, keep showing up. And they'll disappear for a couple of weeks, but then come back and be like, oh, what have I been doing this whole time?
Yeah, I missed it so much,
Yeah, for sure.
And that was the gauge that we used to use when we were doing sound stuff, Jess and I, was the repeat offenders. When they start coming back more consistently, then you're doing something right. There's you've captured something. But yeah, it's being in that sort of unique position of being a pure participant and then stepping into the facilitating role. It's participating in it is such a pleasure. Was such a pleasure. Yeah, like you were saying earlier, the joking and that sort of playfulness that you guys have really warms everyone in, instead of you're not taking yourself so seriously, so I can be more of myself. So yeah, it was just something that I didn't want to stop being around. So once I did that thing where I passed out.
Because you were missing out when you were out cold, is that what you mean? Well, you weren't out cold, but you know, yeah.
No, it was just it got to a point where I would become too sensitive to do it in a group setting. Like I really, really tried to hold myself back and stop myself during the breath work, and I still passed out. It was just, yeah.
So being in a group helps.
Yeah, it does. It got me to where I was. It's so powerful, the process. And I'm a little bit devo that I don't get to experience.
Well, I mean, that's
facilitating the process to see what that was like as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, facilitating yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's cool because we don't really get to
we've
experience.
never really experienced.
I mean, we do part of it, but you have to stop because you're doing it on your own, and it's different to doing it in the group and facilitating. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and like I was just thinking when you were saying that, I was like, I don't know what I used to do on Sunday mornings now. And I don't know what I'd do if we weren't doing this, really. I mean, even when...
most Sundays I was down at the markets anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you were, but I wasn't. I don't even know what I used to do. I
Down
just
the
do
markets,
random whatever.
Yeah.
So if anything, it's given me that bit more structure.
Yeah.
And
it's just, the thing is, there is a day of the week where you need to dedicate to some form of spiritual practice, I find. And not to say that because of religious people go on Sunday, we need to all go on Sunday. But it seems to be a day that you can take time. And when you look at all the religions in the world, they have a day where they dedicate their devotion and practice to something. I enjoy the idea, and it's interesting you mentioned a bit because when we were gonna do it, I said 6 a.m. Remember?
No, we're not doing
and
6.
He looked at me and he said, "JJ, that's too early." And I think he said 8, and then we kind of went, "Okay, 7 is a good hour." And in retrospect, I'm very grateful we do it at 7 because 6 a.m. would have been.
Well, now we get there at 6. It takes us an hour to set up.
It takes us time to set up.
Before we turn up at 7.
We didn't know it yet, and it was funny because at the beginning all we thought is we were gonna do some guided meditation, breath work, and that's it. And it wasn't until 3rd or 4th session that I kept rocking up at like 7. Literally, I would rock up at 7 or 7:05, and he's going, "Hey JJ, you need to set up. Why weren't you here on time?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I thought it started at 7." So we kind of like go with the flow because I thought it was a community thing. And it was until we realized, oh man, there's 10 people here. Have you made the tea? And I'm going, oh, what tea? Oh, yeah, the tea. It was just hectic. And eventually I realized, okay, this needs to take some preparation. And as a participant, I think if I was a participant, I would appreciate rocking up and seeing a space set up. It'd be so nice. Like when we go to the meditations at the gypsy den thingy. Yeah. It's all set up for you, and it's.
But
really
I think
nice.
the other thing that's great that we've created.
Is it gypsy?
Gypsy den, yeah. We'll take you one day.
Okay.
It's in
I do like a
West
drum
End.
thing.
It's a drumming meditation. It's like the house is all decadent, fully decked out with
It's a very different
skulls,
space.
different kind of space, and very. I've been a couple of times on it.
Me
Love
too.
the style. Yeah, I don't love their style, but it works for some people.
Oh, some people love it.
It's drumming, but it's with meditation where he just talks the whole time.
He talks through it while he's
Like-
drumming, so it's really hard to follow because it's either the drum or the talk. I cannot do both.
And he walks around a lot on polished floors, which move. So the whole time I was like, but anyway, that's
I
just
don't
my.
need to visit. Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, part of the time, and I just ended up tuning him out.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
focused on my
you're
breath
better
and-
off just doing your own thing.
I think the other thing I like what we've created is that community, because I think that was something else I started seeing in the centre, was that people would come and that was the only time you saw them, And it was like, apart from, we were friends beforehand, and we met Damo, and we kind of sort of started hanging out. But
But now you're
It's
best friends?
hey,
Best friends?
With them or?
with him,
Mm.
I haven't let him drive my car yet.
Do you
The
have
new
it?
car.
Where's the new car?
It's not
man?
here. I've drove the Ute because I've been to the other Ute because I've been to the tip.
Oh.
I loaded Dad's car with all the other stuff. Don't worry about this, people. This is an offshoot conversation. Anyway, so the thing I liked.
Knew you. It's gonna get jealous of the old.
Yeah, it will. It probably has. It's probably sitting at home. And
Ah.
go. Anyway, the thing I liked about JJ suggested is we could all go have coffee afterwards, and so that has created this community where people, and it's not always the same people, but then we're also sitting there and other people who've been to the sessions before haven't come to the session, but then they turn up and come and have a chat. So it's created that community and around Townsville for us as well as for those people. And I don't know about you guys, but I get people from the group messaging me going, hey, can you give me advice on this? Or this is what's happening for me. So it
I
works
don't
out
get
to
that.
go.
No, me neither. Maybe it's because you're like
Maybe
the
it's
daddy
the
of the
old
group.
I'm the daddy and the
Yeah,
one with
yeah,
the psych
like-
degree, maybe.
Like the
Yeah.
big brother.
They just want you to come play Dig and
Mm.
you to
Yeah.
give them some cacao, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we all know
I've had
why
a
they're
few.
messaging you. Yeah. We know why they're messaging you.
Well, you're the wi-
You
you're the
do it
wise
to
man,
yourself,
dude.
mate. You do it to yourself.
Well, you're very interactive in the social.
Me? What about the end of the session? You were there chatting to everybody.
No, I'm talking in the social media bit.
Oh, true.
So it's a lot of people know that you will answer the phone.
It's because
Where?
Oh,
Yeah.
you pair.
Oh, you can
You
post.
you're
No,
getting
but
better.
you
You're getting
post.
better.
You post in the shamanic sessions a few things every now and again.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, trying to keep that going.
Yeah.
I think I posted something today. But yeah, I like that about that as well. That we created that community. People like even that other woman, was it Karen, who's going to Cairns. She's like, oh yeah, I'll be back. Oh, you guys should come to So spread our wings and look at we're creating a community in air now of people that will get to know us. So first North Queensland, next to the world, we'll conquer it, man.
Well, it's just nice to have those opportunities, and I think they're happening in different ways and throughout the world. Everything's happening, There's a
But
lot more
honestly, I don't
connections.
think it'd happen without the three of us. I think the three of us is that special medicine or elixir or whatever that.
Yeah, it's a good.
Makes
It's
it
a
what
three.
it
It's
is.
the three wise men.
Because I mean, it wasn't as good until Will joined.
Yeah.
That's when he is. Just went to the, like we were here.
Yeah, just
I
stop
brought
it.
that
And that was
Stop-
100%, but
yeah,
Will-
stop it.
Yeah.
He was that little ingredient, the little, the typical put one drop and it goes.
Yeah, like the vanilla essence.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, coffee essence in this case.
Yeah.
Chocolate essence? Which one? Coffee? Chocolate?
Caramel.
Caramel. Peppermint, maybe. Anyhow.
Do you? Yeah. Were you brought up were you brought up as well in a religion background as far as your family,
No,
your friends?
nothing.
Religiously beat his brothers up.
No, we didn't really grow up with any sort of religion. Actually, it was kind of the opposite. We weren't even given the opportunity to really explore it.
Even your indigenous spirituality?
Yeah, kind of. It was partially given, but it wasn't until I'd become an adult and started searching myself that I could actually figure anything out. I had to teach myself most of the stuff. There were people that had sort of come in and out, but the most consistent teacher or elder that I've had has been Uncle Alfred. He's the one that gave us the gift of the smoking ceremony. He's been the one that I've been working with since I've been in Townsville, just playing didgeridoo for him and helping him set his stuff up. But yeah, culture itself was really hard to find. Even sort of growing up, like you're looking around for anyone to teach it, and it's just not available. But it's slowly starting to shift and change. Got a bunch of young men that are around me that are interested in sharing and being a part of that. So yeah, it's beginning to reignite and to catch back on and become stronger in a more integrated way. So it's utilising that Western system, the new culture that has come in, to really empower it. Which is kind of like what we're doing with the shaman Sunday stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that was going to teach me men's law died the other day.
Man's law.
Yeah, Aboriginal men's law. Indigenous. He's from the Adnyamathanha tribe. So from the Elders Mystery School, because I made the connection with grandmother Malara. She was going to take me out to, so Adnyamathanha's near Pitjantjatjara, which is South Australia tribe, and the problem they were having is finding any young male to teach the men's law to. They couldn't find anyone who wanted to take it on. But then, I don't know if it's the same across all tribes in Australia, so you have men's law, women's law, and then grandmother law sits across all of them. And so grandmother Malara actually knows the men's law, but she wasn't allowed to teach it, but she had been given permission to teach it, so she'll probably, hopefully, teach me now. So that's our Elders Mystery School. It'd be good if we can go to that. So next year that's going to be back in Brisbane. So they've actually had to move to Newcastle this year.
What sort of law? Like, what does it mean by that?
It's just secret men. It's like you want to call it secret men's business. So it's men's spirituality, men's.
This is how you do things. This is how you do that.
Yeah, this is the ceremony. This is the way of being a man. This is the stories, the song lines, ceremonies. But there's other stuff too, like it's really interesting listening to what they talk about, so I've got to be careful though, but I guess most people won't watch it. So it does align a lot with the law of one, and they talk about, so she has specific spots in Australia that she's supposed to look after, that's hers, and so you get gifted that. This is your responsibility as a spiritual centre as well. So there's always kind of laws about energy centres on the planet, so they talk about ley lines, you know how they talk about the pyramids were built on.
Yes.
So the indigenous tribes have the same thing. And so that's all that sacred knowledge that gets passed down by different elders. And so there's men's law about that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I haven't been taught, so I can't really tell you what's in there.
No.
I've only seen what grandmother's laws about.
Interested.
So it'd be good if we could go to that next year. It's only 4 days, and it's usually over the long weekend. I think Anzac Day weekend. So you don't have to take much time off. And it's not that expensive. I think it's about $600, and that includes all your food. And you just camp. And then but you also get the Maori elder, and they've got an Andean elder there as well, who's been trained in. So she's from Argentina, I think, but she's also been training under grandmother Malara, so learning this culture's law. And then you've got Auntie Sandy, who's really cool because she's part Scottish, so she embraces both her heritages of, I think she's a South Australian woman as well, and that Scottish heritage, so it's really cool, good balance. So it's all grandmother law, which is above men's law and women's law.
It's like encompasses the whole thing.
But they were running a men's law one, but then, I forget his name now, he got sick and he got in trouble from other tribes and other tribe members for them teaching it this way. So there's all that infighting about not allowing them to do it. But they're like, some of them are realising, well, if we don't, there's no one to pass it on to. So people are willing. So like you said, well, I was looking for this stuff for years. I just stumbled across it. Hey, you should go to this school. And I'm like, oh, there it is. So they talk about dreaming, and they talk about there's a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff is similar to what you learn in other spirituality. Like they talk about what your dreams mean, what the spirit guides you have, what the animal. So the thing I also liked is what, you know, if you're sitting there and you see a black cockatoo fly past, what does that mean?
Yeah, you know
all
what
I
find interesting is with a lot of the indigenous cultures throughout the world, they kind of, I noticed there's a lot of the secrecy behind it, like hiding it, and I don't think it's because they want to hide. I think it's because when there was oppression and fighting and something, they kind of went, because you go to South America, there's so much hidden.
I think that happened traditionally anyway, because you had to get to the right, like they didn't teach the children until they got to that rite of passage. When you became a man, okay, now you can learn.
Yeah,
And then there'd be more stages.
Not ready to know
to knowledge.
that.
Well, that's with
information.
anything though.
But that's what the secrecy's not changed. The secrecy's still there.
But can they pass it to any man, or do you have to be indigenous?
Well, no. So I was going to get it passed to, but that was only because I went along and they deemed me worthy, or said we can see that you're at this level now. You can be trusted with the information, based on sitting with me, talking to me, and obviously connecting with whatever they connect with. Because when I sat with the Maori elder, it wasn't her. It was just, she just checked out and someone else was talking to me, and then she came back and she's like, I gotta go to sleep now because it just snapped up. It was really,
So she's channeling.
She's channeling. You could hear voice changed, everything. It was like, whoa. And
Where was this in the when you went to this thing?
Oh yeah, down in Brizzy, Sanford Valley, beautiful spot too.
That's really interesting.
So that's the other thing, like what you reminded me of. That's why I like this idea of shamanism, because it brings back all that old stuff that's been forgotten. We're bringing it back to
it's
stuff that worked.
It's seeping back in to the world. It's presenting itself as something that needs to be reintegrated back into life.
Yeah.
Because it was forgotten, and I don't think at any other point in the last few decades it would have been ready enough.
Yeah, this is true. I think it's the perfect time. I mean, and that's why that book Sand Talk is so good, because he kind of merged the two worlds. That, okay, here we can use the Indigenous First Nations culture and fuse it with where we are now. That was beautiful. It was like that blamage of fusion of the two different cultures to try and get it to work, rather than go, no, we have to go over here, we have to go here, well, we can't now, so let's see if we can get it to do this. And that's why I loved reading that book in the mornings, because it had so many pearls of wisdom.
Have you finished it?
I haven't found it again yet.
Did I give it back?
I
to
don't
you?
know, I haven't looked for it.
Jeez,
It'll be in amongst my stack of
I'm
books.
sure I gave it
Somewhere
to
in the
you.
background.
I'll go look for it.
Will's got a copy. He's read it a couple of times.
Heaps of times.
Yeah, it's a good book. I think he's got another one too. Do you remember what his name is?
Tyson Younger Porter.
Yeah, so if you want to read it, Sand Talk by that dude. Really good read.
Yeah, I saw a lady reading it the other day, and she took it from the library. She borrowed it from the library. So
One of Damo's friends put me onto it. He read something and I went, that's cool, I'm going to order that book.
It's
Got
strange
it now.
though. It's like that. It's a type of book though that I see book people could pick up and be like, oh wow, and then it sits on the pile with all the rest of their other books and won't get touched again.
like, you mean they don't read it?
They read it. They'll read it the first time and be like, that's pleasant, and then never touch it again, and never go back over and gain different understanding.
Really integrate the
So
information.
it's like a book that you need
Yeah,
to read
yeah,
a few
well,
times to really try to.
Well, there's
grasp.
there's different types of knowing. Like you can cognitively know something, then you can integrate it further and embody it, and then you can know it as a part of instinct as well.
Yeah. And then sometimes you read a book again, and I don't know whether the book actually changes or not, but
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah,
something
yeah.
and you go, oh, was that
Like
there
a
before?
Yeah.
Or is that one of those ones, you read half a page and you go, what did I just read, because you've tuned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, that's the other thing about the shamanism was bringing back. And I guess doing that ayahuasca journey that I did in Peru was like, which also sparked the idea of the spirit walks. It's like, this is like, we're in nature, we're in this raw environment where, and you could consider you feel more at peace, but you're also more vulnerable because you're in that natural state. But you're also connecting with nature. So
That
going
sounds
across to
really-
another,
That sounds really nice.
yeah.
And because I do find living the day to day, I'm in the concrete jungle.
And that's what we said. What a great thing, not just for the people, but for us to be able to do. It's like get out into nature. And Cool. So thank you for watching again. It was a great discussion. Hope you got value out of that. And if you need our services, look us up on Facebook, Energy Architects. See you soon.